Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to deal with the remaining part of the digestive system. After completion of digestive system, I'll conduct one objective type of examination, right? So we completed up to the buccal cavity in the last class. So we discussed about the tongue and also the teeth. Today we are going to discuss the remaining parts of the alimentary canal. So after the buccal cavity, the next part is the pharynx. So we see the pharynx. Pharynx is common passage. Right? Pharynx is a common passage for both food and air. Okay. Type of muscles present in the pharynx. So what type of muscles are present? Type of muscles are striated muscles. Okay. Then if you see the pharynx is divided into three parts. Nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. Okay. So the pharynx is divided into three parts: nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. Where the nasopharynx is present? Nasopharynx is present above the soft palate. Okay. What the nasopharynx consists of? Nasopharynx consists of the openings of internal nostrils and eustachian tubes. Remember the words. The openings of internal nostrils and eustachian tubes are present in the nasopharynx. And oropharynx. Oropharynx is present just behind the buccal cavity. Okay, just behind the buccal cavity. That means the footballers passes into the oropharynx. And laryngopharynx. Just behind the oropharynx, the laryngopharynx is present. And this laryngopharynx is having two apertures. Okay, one aperture is called as glottis and another aperture is called as gullet. So laryngopharynx opens into the larynx through glottis, and laryngopharynx opens into the esophagus through gullet. Okay, the opening of glottis is covered by epiglottis at the time of swallowing the food. Now this pharynx opens into the esophagus. Right. You know that the esophagus is a narrow tubular structure. Okay, it is a narrow tubular structure which passes through the neck region, thoracic region, and pierces the diaphragm and opens into the cardiac part of the stomach. So it is around 22 centimeters in length, and it is a narrow tubular structure, and it opens into cardiac stomach. Then if you see the esophagus is having two sphincters. Remember that. It is having two sphincters. In the esophagus, we can see presence of two sphincters. One is upper esophageal sphincter. And second one is cardiac sphincter. Okay. Where this upper esophageal sphincter is present? The upper esophageal sphincter is present between the pharynx and esophagus. Okay. So we also upper esophageal sphincter is present where? In between the pharynx and esophagus. And cardiac sphincter. Cardiac sphincter is present between the opening of esophagus into the stomach. Okay. So in between the opening of esophagus and stomach, there is a sphincter called as cardiac sphincter. So cardiac sphincter prevents the regurgitation of food. Cardiac sphincter is preventing the regurgitation of food. So let's go for the next one, stomach. Yeah, you see the stomach. Stomach is the largest part. So what is the largest part of alimentary canal? Means it is the stomach. And stomach is a J-shaped structure. Remember that. What is the shape of stomach? It is a J-shaped structure. And stomach is a muscular bag-like structure. A muscular bag, and acts as a reservoir of food. Okay, you can see that the muscular bag, and it is acting as a reservoir of food. So we see here, this part of the stomach is called as cardiac stomach. And this part of the stomach is called as fundic stomach. Okay, this is the body. This is the pyloric stomach. Okay, so where the esophagus is opening? The esophagus is opening into the cardiac stomach, and in this region there is a cardiac sphincter. So this one is the cardiac sphincter. Okay, you can see here the cardiac sphincter. So the stomach, the esophagus opens into which part of the stomach? Means the esophagus opens into the cardiac stomach, and the opening of esophagus into cardiac stomach is guarded by cardiac sphincter. Now if you see here, this is the pyloric stomach. The pyloric stomach opens into the duodenum. Opening of pyloric stomach into duodenum is guarded by pyloric sphincter. It is the pyloric sphincter. So where the locations? They'll be asking you the location. What is the where the cardiac sphincter is present? Cardiac sphincter is present between the esophagus and cardiac stomach. Pyloric sphincter is present in between the pyloric stomach and duodenum. Okay. Function of cardiac sphincter. Cardiac sphincter prevents regurgitation of the food. That means the backward movement of the food. Okay. The cardiac sphincter is preventing the regurgitation of food. That means it prevents the backward movement of food from stomach into the esophagus. Then what about the pyloric sphincter? Pyloric sphincter allows the passage of food from pyloric stomach to the duodenum. So it is allowing the passage of food from pyloric stomach to the duodenum. Well, remember that in the stomach the food is stored for 4 to 5 hours. So we call the stomach as the reservoir of the food. Right? Let us go for the next part, the small intestine and large intestine. Yeah, we are going to the small intestine now. So if you see the small intestine, it is the longest part of the alimentary canal. That means it is around nearly 20 feet in length. Okay, it is the longest part of alimentary canal, which is 20 feet in length. And this small intestine is you can see the small intestine is divided into 3 parts. The first one is duodenum, right? The second one is jejunum, and the third one is ileum. So if we see the duodenum is the shortest of the small intestine. The shortest part of the small intestine is the duodenum. And remember that duodenum is the major site of digestion and absorption. That is one question. So, major site of digestion and absorption is duodenum. Very important question for NEET. The major site of digestion and absorption is duodenum, right? And all the biomacromolecules are broken down into the small micromolecules in the duodenum. Okay, then the duodenum opens into the jejunum. Jejunum is the long and coiled part of the alimentary canal. Remember that. Jejunum is long and coiled part of the alimentary canal. What happens in the jejunum? In jejunum also absorption takes place. Okay, in jejunum also absorption takes place. After that, ileum. Ileum is highly coiled part of small intestine is ileum. So here also the absorption takes place. And ileum consists of finger-like projections called as villi. Okay. And this ileum opens into the cecum. This is the cecum. So this ileum is opening into the cecum. Opening of ileum into cecum is guarded by So opening of ileum into cecum is guarded by iliaco-cecal wall. So this completes about the small intestine. Now let us go for the large intestine. Right, we go for the next one, large intestine. So what is a large intestine function means? Absorption of water. From undigested food. Next, formation of feces. Next, defecation. Okay, there are three functions of the large intestine. One is the absorption of water from the undigested food. Second one is formation of feces. And third one is defecation. Then what are the parts present in the large intestine? Large intestine consists of cecum, colon and rectum. Okay, so cecum, colon and rectum. So let us draw the rectum. Okay, so this is the rectum, right? Cecum, if you see that one, the cecum is a pouch-like structure, right? This is the cecum. The cecum is a pouch-like structure. And the cecum lodges the symbiotic bacteria. Very important question. So in which part of the alimentary canal the symbiotic bacteria are present means it is present in the cecum. Right? Symbiotic bacteria are present in the cecum. Okay. And which is opening into the cecum means the ileum. Ileum opens into the cecum, which is guarded by iliaco-cecal wall to prevent the backward movement of the fecal matter. Then from the ileum, a small blind finger-like projection appears. This is called as the vermiform appendix. Vermiform appendix. The vermiform appendix is a vestigial organ. And the vermiform appendix is also called as abdominal tonsil. We also call that one as abdominal tonsil. Right? So the cecum opens into the colon. So this is the colon. And colon consists of different parts. So this one is ascending colon. This one is transverse colon. This one is a descending colon. This one is sigmoid colon. Okay. And the descending colon opens into the rectum through sigmoid colon. Okay. How do you identify the colon? Colon is identified by the pouches. The pouches. These are the pouches. The pouches are called as haustra. We call the pouches as haustra. Right. And also, the colon also consists of longitudinal folds of smooth muscles. Like this. Along the length of the colon, we can see the longitudinal muscles. The longitudinal muscles are present like this. So, 3 columns of longitudinal foldings are present. The longitudinal foldings of muscles present on the colon are called as tinea coli. We call this one as tinea coli. Now we see the rectum. A rectum opens into the anal canal. So this one is anal canal. And anal canal opens into anus. Anal canal opens into the anus. And this anus consists of 2 sphincters. One is the external anal sphincter. And second one is internal anal sphincter. So if you see here the external anal sphincter is present. Remember that where the external anal sphincter is present means the external anal sphincter is present here. Okay. Remember that external anal sphincter is made up of with skeletal muscle. So if the external anal sphincter is made up of with skeletal muscle, then remember that one, it is voluntary in function. That means you can regulate the opening and closing of the external anal sphincter, right? So external anal sphincter is present at the anal opening or anal aperture. Surrounding the anal aperture, we can see the external anal sphincter. Then what about the internal anal sphincter? Internal anal sphincter is present between here, in between the anal canal and rectum. In between the anal canal and rectum, we can see the presence of internal anal sphincter. Internal anal sphincter is made up of with smooth muscles. So these are the important points where we can get the objective questions. Right, we go for the next one, transverse section of alimentary canal. Yes, we can see here, this is the TS of alimentary canal. Is the transverse section, right? TS of alimentary canal or TS of gut. Okay, from esophagus to rectum. So the transverse section of alimentary canal from esophagus to rectum shows 4 layers. It is showing 4 layers. So number of layers present in the wall of alimentary canal means there are 4 layers. What are those 4 layers? The outermost layer is called as serosa. Below the serosa, there is a longitudinal muscles. Below that, there is circular muscles. And this one is the submucosa. Okay. And this one is the mucosa. And this one is the gut. Lumen of the gut. So if you see the serosa, serosa is the outermost layer of the alimentary canal. Remember that one. The outermost layer of alimentary canal is called as outermost layer of gut is serosa. So what is the function of serosa? Serosa function is protection. And the serosa is made up of with mesothelium and some connective tissue. That is the question. Okay, what is the question here? The serosa is made up of with what? The serosa is made up of with mesothelium and some connective tissue. The next one is muscularis. Okay, the next one is muscularis. So muscularis is the nothing but it is a muscular layer. Then if you see the muscularis consists of outer longitudinal muscles and inner circular muscles. Inner circular muscles. The third one is submucosa. Third one is submucosa. Okay. So submucosa. Then if you see the submucosa is made up of with loose connective tissue. Very important about submucosa. Remember the word. It is made up of with what? It is made up of with loose connective tissue. Then what the submucosa consists of? Along with the loose connective tissue, it consists of blood vessels. That means you can see that one has an artery and a vein. They may ask like that also. Lymph vessel and nerve. Okay. The submucosa is made up of with loose connective tissue which contains blood vessels, lymph vessels and nerves. Right. And the last one is mucosa. And one more important point you can remember here that the submucosa of the submucosa of duodenum. In the duodenum, the submucosa consists of some glands. What are those glands? Means Brunner's glands. So the submucosa of duodenum consists of Brunner's glands. That is one question. Brunner's glands are located where? In the submucosa of duodenum. Brunner's glands secretes what? Mucus. Remember the word. The Brunner's glands are secreting the mucus. Then third one, last one, mucosa. Right. Mucosa is the innermost layer of the alimentary canal. Remember that this mucosa undergoes modifications. Then this mucosa forms irregular folds in the stomach. Okay, the mucosa is forming irregular folds in the stomach. So in the stomach, the mucosa forms irregular folds. That is called as gastric rugae. We call that one as gastric rugae. In between these folds, there are small microscopic glands called as gastric glands. Okay. Then this mucosa forms finger-like projections, where they are forming finger-like projections in the ileum. That means in the small intestine. So they are forming finger-like projections in the small intestine, or simply you can say that ileum, and also in the jejunum. So the small finger-like projections which are present in the small intestine are called as villi. They are called as villi. Villi increases the surface area of absorption. So here one question will come. So if you ask, identify the following statements which is incorrect. So like that the question will come. So if the incorrect statements means they will give all the four options. Like that, the outermost layer is serosa. Then below the serosa, longitudinal muscles. Below the longitudinal muscles, circular muscles. Below the circular muscles, submucosa and mucosa. Three statements we got. Fourth statement, the four layers does not undergo any modifications. That is the statement. That means if you remember that in the four layers, the submucosa is undergoing modifications, right? The mucosa is forming irregular folds in the stomach, and the mucosa is forming finger-like projections in the small intestine. That means the mucosa layer is undergoing modifications. So remember that one. The layers of the small intestine can undergo modification. If they ask you that they do not undergo modification, means it is a wrong statement. Okay, remember that one. So this completes about the PS of alimentary canal. So we'll go in the next class about the digestive glands. Okay, thank you very much.